Oh my god, I didn't prepare for this. Hello, my dear friends and family. Operator Starsky here. So good to see you as always. As always, cheers to you, my friends. I just made a coffee, and I was running here, almost slipped there. I gotta put some kind of carpet or something, you know, like in the Soviet times, carpets everywhere, you know. I would not trade Ukrainian flag for like a carpet background, but that would be cringy in a different show. All right. Greetings to beautiful Cardiff, as always. Oh my God, that's so cool. Lydia, got coffee and choc chips, cookies. I have literally Kinder chocolate here. All right. So we have some crazy updates. I didn't have this Venezuela attack on my bingo card when I woke up. It was, oh my god, sorry, I just, besides everything, I just had breakfast and I need to give it some time. So I wasn't prepared for that. Ireland, hello Patrick, how are you? Oh my god, America knows how to conduct a special military operation. 100%, we'll talk about this as well. Yeah, but before we talk about Venezuela, let's just quickly talk about some different topics. Hello to beautiful Japan! Crazy things happening 100%. We will talk about that as well. Let's first talk about some different things, all right? Because I wanted to show you something. We have a recent poll, right, conducted in Ukraine. This is basically the poll that we conduct since May 2022, all right, in Ukraine. Just one question. What do you think about trading whatever Ukrainian territories in order to achieve the fastest ceasefire possible, all right? We can see that May 2022, 82% Ukrainians would say fuck you, even though back in 2022, 28% of Ukraine were occupied, and today this number is roughly around 19%. So back then 82% would say fuck you Russia. In July 22, 84% would say fuck you Russia. September 87% would say. We can see that this number slowly declines, all right, but as of this year, as of December previous year, December 2025, 53% Ukrainians would say there is absolutely no way Ukraine should trade even a centimeter of Ukrainian territory, even if this war continues and there will be a threat to Ukraine in terms of keeping its independence. And 33% of Ukrainians say that they would consider giving some kind of territories to achieve the fastest ceasefire and keep the independence of Ukraine. So it doesn't mean that they say like fuck, give like half a country. They say, well, we would consider and like think about it. And 14% of people would say hard to say, right? So they don't know what to answer. 53% Ukrainians don't want to trade our home. They don't want to trade Ukrainian territories. They don't want to fucking hug Russians, drink vodka, dance with bears, and play balalaika, because literally fuck Russia. We all hate them. We all hate them for what they did. All right. Why am I showing this to you? Because literally 1 month ago, President Donald Trump said that 82%, according to the recent poll, the data that I have, want to fucking give up our fucking underwear. We want to send our kids to Volgograd. We want to, I don't know, do whatever ugly shit because we fucking love Russians so much. We are so sorry that we invaded poor tiny Russian country, you know, and we want peace as fast as possible, which of course we do. If you ask 100% Ukrainians, 100% Ukrainians will tell you we want peace as fast as we can possibly achieve it because we are not enjoying being fucking attacked. That's the position shared by all Ukrainians. The problem is some people often forget who attacked first, right? So that is why I'm showing this to you. This is the recent data. 53% Ukrainians don't support giving up any territory because this is our home. All right, just keep this in mind. This is the most recent data. Oh my god, those were nice. That was some kick-ass attack conducted by good Ukrainian drones yesterday. By the way, check out the scale, alright, because they were flying all the way to places like Mordova, oh my god, Ulyanovsk, what is this, Tambov, Penza didn't suffer yesterday, alright. Воронеж, my god, Balakova. The fuck is that naming? Oh my god, fucking branding in Russia is so freaking insane. Stavropol, Krasnodar, Novorossiysk. Novorossiysk is where that Russian submarine was destroyed recently. So what else? What else can we talk about? We will talk about Venezuela, my friends, again, just a bit later, because I promised one thing. All right, we have more details on that attack that took place in Kharly recently, when, you know, the Russian collaborationists were saying that Ukrainians attacked people in Kharly that were peacefully celebrating New Year in the restaurant. So, just to give you the broader picture, all right? You know what the curfew is? The curfew is, for example, 10 p.m. You're not allowed to be outside your home. You gotta stay inside your home. We have that in Ukraine since 2022. In all the cities, all right? In all the cities. You will not find people like dancing in the club in 1 a.m. Since 2022, which is a tragedy, frankly speaking, because I wasn't able to order even like a bunch of sushi when I was in Ukraine at night, all right, which I would usually do, for example, when there were peaceful times, when I would not be on a deployment, when I would stay home, and 1 a.m. I feel this, like, you know, slight craving, so I would literally call the guys and they would deliver sushi. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., nobody gives a fuck. And that is exactly the case for Kharly. In some Russian or Russia-controlled cities that are occupied in Ukraine, they have curfew. In others, they might not have curfew. In Kharly, they have curfew, and people are not allowed to stay outside. And it doesn't matter if it's fucking New Year, Putin's birthday, it doesn't matter. So they cannot stay outside after whatever, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. And the people that were celebrating in that restaurant, they were not civilians, all right? So according to the information that we have from our military sources, the special services of the Terrorist Federation were celebrating in Kharly. You can see this amazing photo brought to you by Vladimir Saldo, that is the Russian collaborationist. I think it's an illustrative photo, maybe even like a photo of some Ukrainian village being burned. And representatives of the Russian special forces were literally celebrating, dancing happily in Kharly in that restaurant. Ukrainian intelligence had data on them that they were gathering there. And basically, as I said in the previous episode, they were fucked. So that resulted in the chief of the collaborationist police being turned into a better Russian in that very restaurant by good Ukrainian missiles, apparently. So that is what happened, and they, of course, will blame whatever Ukrainian fascists killing that crucified boy Pant is wearing, on the spot and stuff like that, but that's reality. Russians are very, very good at projecting, we all know that. I have never seen so much Russian cringe published just over a single morning, and I want to share some of it with you because позывной осетин. So one of the Russian motherfuckers said, in the first day they captured president with the family in a different country, and we are fighting for the 4th year in Ukraine, all right? They are kind of envious, but not all of them, all right? We will talk about that. Maduro is a bloody dictator, and by the way, this is something that I wanted to address, all right, to White House, President Trump, everyone who supports him. If they consider that it's actually fine to defeat a bloody dictator in a foreign country and then proudly snatch the oil in that country or whatever, whatever their intentions were, all right? But if they think that it's a proper thing, I will give a tiny hint. I know another dictator who almost has no tanks, all right? Who almost has no air defense. Whatever he has is basically defending the house of that dictator. And his country is extremely fucking rich of money. Ukrainians would be fucking happy if they take all that oil, literally, to benefit the United States of America and use that oil and gas forever. My friends, I know the country, I know exactly the address, I can tell you. I can even provide the Delta Force with the exact address of that dictator. And the coolest thing about it is that he kind of has nuclear weapons, but they don't really work because 2 recent tests of his most advanced nuclear carrying missiles and stuff like that, they fucking failed. They exploded in the silo and they did not even lift off. I've already seen that freaking meme, of this angel looking from the skies, and the text reads Russian airborne troops in Hostomel are looking at the Delta Force operation. I can feel that. What else do we have? Already we have several videos that I am not sure if they're legit or not, because to me it looks kind of weird. On one picture that is published, we can see a Russian IL-7. Is that IL-7? Yeah, that is IL-76, and Russians kind of evacuating from somewhere. I cannot tell you if that's Venezuela or not. But we have a video showing a different stuff. A video from allegedly Venezuela. Let me know what you think about it. All right.
Caminaba por la calle después del bombardeo. En el polvo encontré documentos de militares rusos, libretas militares y otros papeles. 1 hora antes de la invasión no se preparaban, solo bebían o tenían sexo. Simplemente nos trajeron armas y eso fue todo. Como siempre, los que peleamos somos nosotros.
So basically they say that they were taking a stroll down the street in Venezuela and found some kind of Russian military IDs, which kind of serves as a proof that there was a Russian trace, all right, but we all know that there was a Russian trace because Russians were literally going to and from Venezuela many times, delivering all sorts of shit, including not only drones and personnel from Wagner, but also Russian air defenses, Russian tanks and stuff. So, like, we all know that. How legit is this video? I am not sure. But, like, what's the point of proving what we already know? And Oleg Tsaryov, that is technically Ukrainian, but Russian collaborationist. He was member of parliament, the dude who doesn't know when the Second World War started, right? As well as the rest of the Russians. So he ran to Russia and currently he's residing there. He says, in 2005-2008, Venezuela bought weapons from Russia worth $4 billion, including Su-30, attack and cargo helicopters, small arms, and manpads that were paid with oil. In 2009, Moscow additionally gave $2.2 billion credit, and Caracas ordered howitzers, MLRS, BMPs, BTRs, and anti-air systems Buk 2M, also several divisions of S-300 and a big chunk of tanks T-72. Where the fuck is all that? So I can immediately tell that Oleg Tsaryov can search all that in his very, very own asshole. But besides that, we also have, for example, a statement from the Terrorist Federation already nagging about this. They say that the reasons for the United States to attack Venezuela are kind of ridiculous, all right? That is what the Ministry of External Affairs of the Terrorist Federation is saying. Apparently, such reasons as fascist Kyiv regime, suppressing of Russian language in places like Kharkiv, for example, reasons like genetically modified combat ducks and mosquitoes, deadly viruses, dirty bombs and stuff like that are not ridiculous, but Maduro being a fucking dictator is ridiculous, as well as, for example, American oil rigs, American equipment that he literally grabbed, all right, and nationalized. Let's be objective, okay? And also, Russian state basically says that they condemn, all right, they condemn the aggression of United States against Venezuela. Venezuela should be given a guaranteed right to define its destiny and future without external interference. When Russians say that, me as a Ukrainian, all right, I feel kind of lost. Okay, that's very interesting to hear that from Russians with their tanks, all right, either peacefully burning in Ukraine or trying to get closer to Pokrovsk. So Latin America should remain a peace zone. Russia supports the gathering of the UNSC. And also Russia is expressing its solidarity with the Venezuelan people. And if they were truly solidary with Venezuelan people, they would most probably help Venezuelan people to actually help them elect somebody, right? Instead of fucking giving Maduro directives on how to forge elections. So we have such statements coming from Russia. We can already see that Russia is not very satisfied with this. But this, my friends, this is the top of the Russian cringe right here, and I will translate it. All right, I will translate it for you because apparently I didn't know that all those brave Delta Force operators who landed in Caracas, they all died. My deep condolences, all right? My deep condolences to those brave warriors. And before you start throwing tomatoes, I will read this shit to you. So there is this Котенок. Котенок is like this absolutely ridiculous and delusional Russian propagandist who says Americans in Venezuela are copying the actions of Russian Spetsnaz in the first hours of special military operation in Hostomel. Seriously, I didn't know that all the Delta Force operators fucking died in Caracas. That is a surprise to me, because from what I know, they all safely returned back together with bloody dictator Maduro. That is so cringy. If I was a Delta Force operator, I would take this fucking statement as a deep insult, all right? Because we all know what happened to the Russian airborne troops fighting Spetsnaz in Hostomel, and I can tell because I know just a bit, all right, about Russians in Hostomel. I was like passing by, all right. I was buying coffee outside and I saw them, okay? So they all died. And the reason why we can talk about Hostomel, for example, right, is because I can talk about that. My guys that were there, they can talk about that. And by the way, 100% guys that were there in Hostomel, we can talk about that. At the same time, you may probably hardly find any living Russian individual who has any memories left about Hostomel because they fucking vanished. So this is something so cringy. I cannot even find words to describe how funny it is to me as a Ukrainian who was in Hostomel, and also how insulting this must be to the American Delta Force operators that participated in that operation. Took them 3 hours to snatch Maduro, to go there, land, snatch Maduro, and return home. And the Meerkat in Hostomel, together with the Russian degenerates, lasted for like 2-3 hours, all right, with my brigade, all right, with my brigade that back then mostly consisted of conscripts and staff officers, all right, people who pay like salaries, people who drag cables, maintain servers and stuff like that, and also brave Ukrainian military firefighters. That is like the force that is apparently much stronger than all sorts of Russian Spetsnaz. And then when we ran out of ammunition and Ukrainian airborne troops arrived, they were literally hunting the remains of that glorious Russian Spetsnaz in Hostomel for the whole night. So that's just the comparison, all right? But Russians are like trying to, you didn't know that, okay? You didn't know. But Americans, they are so fucking stupid that they are actually copying us, Russians. Okay, they are copying our deep experience, deep military experience, all right. Russian military experience is so good, so American Delta Force, like those noobs, right? They don't know anything. So they were studying Russian experience in Hostomel. That is why that operation was a success. Just a reminder, Russia is struggling 4 years in Ukraine. It's still without any chance to capture even a single major city. So that is just for you, my friends. Kudos to Delta Force operators. They did a great job. Again, I believe that Russians, if they still have any airborne troops, they will most probably like to, study some of that just in case. We definitely will. There is some other interesting information that was published by Хочу жить. That is a Ukrainian project, a Ukrainian holy shit, military intelligence. All right, I need more coffee. Sorry, I'm losing words here. Хочу жить is a Ukrainian project supervised and funded by the Ukrainian military intelligence, and they decided to present the typical portrait of the Russian prisoner in Ukraine. So this statistic is built on the data on more than 10,000 Russian prisoners of war in Ukraine. So we can see that the main age, alright, is between 26 and 55. 26 to 35 makes roughly a third of all the Russian prisoners. 76% of them went to war voluntarily. We can see that majority of them, 54%, don't have kids at all. That's actually very interesting, just so you could understand like the face, all right, of the Russian prisoner. The place where they were captured, majority of them came from Pokrovsk and Bakhmut, all right. Here we can see Pokrovsk, Bakhmut, Pologovsky region, Kurskaya Oblast, and Severodonetsky region. They spent approximately 4 to 9 months, 40% of them, roughly half, spends 4 to 9 months in Ukrainian captivity before exchange. Primarily, people who are exchanged come from Moscow and Oblast, Krasnodar Krai, Perm Krai, and Rostov Oblast. As for their education, there it is. They have graduated from middle school, right? Roughly 44% Russians who were captured graduated from the middle school. Approximately 30% of them have unfinished higher education. 18% of them have they just finished school and stuff, and 7% of them have higher education. So apparently we are talking about 7% of Russian officers, all right, because according to the law and everything else, they gotta pass through those courses, all right, military courses. And 0.4% Russians don't have any education whatsoever, as well as 0.6 Russians don't have finished higher education. 60% of them don't have any criminal background. 40% of Russians, let me zoom out a bit and remove this one so you could see that, right? I'm translating this to you, my friends. You have a guy who will translate all this shit. 40% of them have military background, so they were convicted, incarcerated. 40% of all Russians. First of all, according to the legislation in Russia, all right, and it's still in their legislation, if you were convicted, you cannot possibly even touch weapons, all right? You cannot have rights to even like look in the direction of weapons, all right? But 40% of the convicts are being employed in the Russian army. Remember when Putin was saying in 2022 that, of course, no conscripts are participating in the special military operation, only professional soldiers, all right? So 40% of those professional soldiers in the Russian army in 2025 are convicted, okay? They basically come from prison. So you may ask what sort of crimes did they commit? So 35% were convicted for theft, 18% of them were convicted for drugs, 16% robbery and battery, 13% for aggravated battery, and 8% murder. So roughly speaking, every 10th Russian soldier who actually goes to Ukraine was basically convicted for murder. All right. As for the mercenaries, all right, we know that 7% of all the captured Russian invaders as of December 2025 were international mercenaries from 40 countries of the world. And among those countries, my God, how do I... can I open this image, all right, like this, for example, and do like this? So you can see all those beautiful flags. We can see. All right, let's check out my knowledge, all right, of countries. So this one, is it Argentina or not? Okay, I will look ridiculous, and I will accept it. So Iran, I don't remember. Belarus, Kazakhstan. I knew this one. Could be Lebanon. Too small to tell. Same with this one. Brazil, of course. Is it Lithuania? I guess. This one I forgot, seriously. We have also China, Cuba, DPRK, Estonia. Why does this one look like this one? All right, like they both could be Iran. Greece, India. Shit, this one also could be Iran. Oh my God. This one is just to show you that, guys, not only our friends from across the pond are sometimes, all right, sometimes not very strong with geography, sometimes Ukrainians as well, all right? You can use this as a proof that I suck at geography, which, by the way, is the case. So, yeah, this one is, holy shit, Turkmenistan, I don't know. 40 countries. All right. 40 countries. Skipped leg day. Absolutely. Skipped leg day. Mexico. So, okay. Friends are helping me to decipher. We have also flags of Egypt, Romania, not Argentina. Thank you very much. Spain, Mexico, Egypt. Guys, Philippines, Pakistan. That is just so we could see who the Russian invaders really are, all right, what they look like. And of course, there are African countries again, but Kwakadaki, thank you so much. There are Russian mercenaries from African countries as well, but I don't know well African countries well myself. I am sorry, that is something that I rarely looked at, which is not an excuse at all. My geography skills suck. So we have some more information. So there are approximately 19% mobilized among them, all right? And almost 5% of Russian conscripts, despite the fact that officially they don't fight. We know that there are a lot of... that is Moldova, not Romania. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I feel so embarrassed myself, guys. I'm so sorry. Romania has the same flag, but without the emblem in the middle. Yeah, I will know. I know I forgot, all right? So 5% Russian conscripts, which is very interesting, and at the same time, I know that there are a lot of Russian conscripts captured in Kursk and also in Ukraine, especially in the first months of the Russian invasion, because they brought a lot of Russian conscripts to Ukraine. So basically, one quarter of all the captured Russians are saying that they went to war not voluntarily, that they were either tricked or forced to sign contract, which is again very interesting. Typical Russian, like very, very typical Russian prisoner of war is literally a private without higher education and often with some kind of criminal background. Hundreds of men, and this is something that, by the way, I can confirm 100% because my brigade was fighting in Bakhmut and we saw that every single fucking time. We captured a lot of Russians with specifically this shit. So they say hundreds of Russians were captured, had diseases such as HIV/AIDS, hepatitis B and C, tuberculosis, diabetes, and also mental diseases such as schizophrenia. Russia primarily exchanges those who didn't spend much time in the Ukrainian captivity and doesn't have heavy wounds, primarily ethnical Russians, and they almost never exchange the foreign mercenaries at all, right? In total, just a bit more than 6,000 Russian prisoners of war were exchanged with Russia, but thousands keep remaining in Ukrainian captivity since the very first months of the war, and Russia rejects the full exchange over the course of 4 years. And before we talk about more Russian cringe, right, I gotta eat this chocolate real quick and drink some coffee because I had a good breakfast, but I crave chocolate so much. What does it mean? What does it mean when a grown-up man craves chocolate like I do? Am I pregnant or something? Guys, tell me, I have no idea. I literally, every single night I go to the gas station to buy myself some milk chocolate because I literally have like craving, all right? I think about it. This stuff makes my teeth scream from pain. It's so sweet. Holy dog. I'm crying from happiness. Okay, I will show you something really cool, all right? Some of the Russian publications, and I will try to translate it as much as I can. Is that Milka trying? That is Kinder Chocolate. That's my favorite one. If you want to bribe me, if you want me to tell you all the state secrets, give me this like Kinder Chocolate and I'm literally recruited. But you will not be able to make it because SBU sends me more than you can possibly give to me in your entire life. They know that trick, all right? So, I will try to translate it as much as I can. This is from Pravda.ru, Russian media outlet. They literally say, the air is trembling from the intensity. Venezuela deployed S-300 at their borders where they are expecting Americans. Most probably they deployed them like, in the wrong direction because that's freaking wall of S-300s for some reason just didn't work, right? But that is so cliche. The way they describe this, I have like very, very strong flashbacks to like 1987, you know. Glorious Soviet army deployed its magnificent air defense missiles, expecting those evil tiny Americans, you know, that want to sneak through our iron borders, you know. Well, didn't work. They still managed. I keep telling everyone that S-300s don't work. They kind of do, all right? Like when you aim them at a house in Kharkiv somewhere, they can do that, all right? They can just like fly using the ballistic trajectory and kill a bunch of civilians. Yeah, that shit works. But this is just so cliche. The way they make those messages, Orwell would cry. I understand why he would read so much Russian press, all right? So Kaya Kallas says that I have spoken with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and our ambassador in Caracas. The European Union is closely monitoring the situation in Venezuela. The European Union has repeatedly stated that Mr. Maduro lacks legitimacy and has defended a peaceful transition. Under all circumstances, the principles of international law and the UN Charter must be respected. We call for restraint. And that is the reason, by the way, why the UN sticks to the UN Charter, and especially why EU countries stick to the UN Charter and call to respect it. That is one of the reasons why European Union keeps supporting Ukraine in its struggle against the illegal and absolutely unprovoked, unjustified Russian invasion. That's what we all know, right? The safety of the EU citizens in the country is our top priority. Again, I can completely understand and agree. That does not excuse invading a sovereign nation. 100%, my friend. 100%. We don't justify whatever nation invading whatever nation, all right? We don't do it here. But we also agree that Maduro is a bloody dictator and murderer. It's a fact. Is he like the cartel mastermind, pushing those tons of drugs to the United States? I don't know. I have my doubts. But we have two facts. You don't invade independent countries. It's a fact. And Maduro is a fucking criminal and a dictator, just like Putin, by the way. That's also a fact. Okay. Why I see Venezuela's defending Maduro? For the very same reason why we can see, for example, Russians defending Putin, all right? Or for the same reason why we could see some Syrian troops defending Bashar al-Assad. That's literally the reason. So this isn't about drugs. I suspect this more than anything, all right? Because Venezuela exports cocaine to Europe. Despite the fact that Venezuela is one of the most, if not the most oil-rich country in the world, Maduro, I don't need to write. Despite the fact that Venezuela is the most oil-rich country in the world, all right? At the same time, the Russian shadow fleet is like 5 times larger. Also, Russians are very, very well known and documented in their connections with the drug mafia, because there are so many cases of Russian diplomats literally snatching drugs from places like Argentina and other countries of the South America. At the same time, we also know that Taliban controls probably the biggest source of heroin in the world, all right? It's there, it's in Afghanistan. So Taliban controls all that. Which country recently decided to remove Taliban from their terrorist organization list? I'll give you just one try. So, again, if you really want to fight international drug trafficking, oh my god, I said it out loud, drug trafficking, and if you really want to secure peace around the world, if you really want to get rid of fucking bot farms, alright, that literally make American society fight against each other, alright, that feed both Democrats and conservatives with all sorts of bullshit that makes them so mad at each other, so they literally want to kill each other, bringing the American society on the brink of civil war. If you want that all to be removed, and also if you want to make a completely justified and righteous thing in terms of helping Ukraine defend itself, helping to eliminate international terrorism, helping to establish very, very strong collective security, and also receive access to fucking enormous resources like oil and gas and everything else that will literally make you the strongest nation in the world, all right? I'm not just referring, not just addressing Americans in this speech generally. All that points to the biggest swamp on planet Earth called Terrorist Federation. If you take that, you can have everything, all right? You can have everything. You can have peace, you can have your media free of bullshit, and it's a dangerous bullshit. It's a bullshit that actually makes your people hate each other, all right? There's nothing more dangerous than that. You can have peace, you can have security, you can have absence of bullshit in your media, because all those bot farms, all that fuckery literally vanishes in just a blink of an eye, all right? And also you will have enormous resources that you can fucking share with the whole world. You will be taking baths of oil and gas on a daily basis. Do whatever you like, fucking make cakes out of oil and gas. If you do this one tiny thing, all right, deconstruct the terrorist Russian regime. And that is something that I think everybody understands. Again, just to remind you, when Russia invaded Ukraine, they had more tanks and armored vehicles than whole Europe combined. Ukrainians basically burned majority of them. Whatever Russia has right now is a few of modern tanks and a fuckload of rusty post-World War II tanks that barely start, alright, if lucky. And they're not even used on the front itself much, okay, in just specific cases when those like huge barns, alright, move across the field and getting burnt and fucked by Ukrainian FPV drones. So they are going into the combat on golf carts they buy from China. That's again something you should keep in mind. Let alone donkeys, let alone those brave Russian hussars on top of horses, because they burned majority of their vehicles. They understand that currently they probably don't even need those vehicles because they have like manpower, alright, like the cannon fodder they can just throw over and over again, and they have plenty of drones. And the best way to actually understand your capacity of being able to deconstruct the terrorist Russian regime is, again, speak to Ukrainians, because Ukrainians will help you to build your drone technology. At this very point, there are 3 countries in the world that are way ahead of everyone else, including America, with its best army in the world, right? Those countries are China with their heavy bomber drones that can carry hundreds of smaller drones. That is China, all right? China is already working in this direction very, very fast. That's also Russia with their technologies and scale of building the long-range drones and also FPV drones and fiber optic drones. And that is also Ukraine that is extremely effective at building not only the drones, naval drones, land drones, those wheeled Terminators, Viking FPV drones, missile drones, all sorts of them. But also they're very, very good at applying them in the real life. They're very, very good at making those strikes not only visible, right, not only effective in terms of visual effects, but also effective in terms of goals, all right? Ukraine knows how to strike with those drones properly. So Russians just keep sitting there asking themselves, how the fuck did they do that? You know, and Ukrainians are very, very keen, all right, of sharing this experience with their friends. So when there are people, for example, in the United States who say that we should forget, all right, about Putin and concentrate on China, motherfuckers, all right, we will have our next conflict with them. Because apparently China is planning to attack Taiwan. Taiwan is in the sphere of American influence, and if you take a look at the division in the modern world, the West is controlling all the intellectual resources, right? Because we're talking about Taiwan, of course, we're talking about the IT and stuff like that. In the meantime, China and Russia, they also, we can include Iran, for example. They're controlling the oil resources, all right? So it's basically oil versus brain, all right? Like money versus intellect. And if there is a conflict between China and United States, for example, which again, I can almost guarantee it will not involve nuclear weapons for obvious reasons, because none of them want to die. So when all this happens, American army will suffer great losses to the warfare they're not prepared to, all right? Because Russian and Chinese drone technologies are several steps ahead of the United States. So to all those who say that, who prepare themselves, all right, like internally prepare themselves for the next conflicts against China, for example, you know, that those axes of evil, China, North Korea, and at the same time they say, fuck Ukraine, I don't want to help Ukraine, fuck Ukraine. So because we are not the assholes, all right, we don't say fuck United States, we are always happy to share our drone technologies with our allies, all right, again, because we are not assholes and we understand what the collective security actually means. And in the upcoming resistance, all right, against those axes of evil, we are on the same side of the barricades with the West. And we are happy to help. Even when we hear shit like, fuck Ukraine, I don't want to help Ukraine. We're not mad, all right, because we're not assholes. So, America first in Greenland. Oh my God, I don't know even what to say. Yeah, definitely. What else? We have a message in the Russian media from 27th of October 2025. Putin ratified strategic partnership with Venezuela, and also the Russian foreign ministry, all right, Ministry of the Foreign Affairs is condemning United States as much as they can. I don't support invasion of a foreign country, you know me, but also I don't support fucking dictators. One thing that makes me a bit lost in all this is that, generally speaking, Trump is so much more effective as attacking, for example, tiny Venezuela and fighting against a bloody dictator. He's very, very effective in this, and he's much effective in other things. For example, pushing Department of Justice to release all the unredacted documents on Trump and Epstein. All right, I meant to say Epstein, but generally, like, all right, you know what I'm saying. Trump is much less effective on releasing all those documents on Epstein. All right, all the unredacted, all that shit that both Democrats and Republicans are asking all this time. And at the same time, he's also not very effective at, for example, fighting for other people, all right? He fights for freedom-loving people of Venezuela, he supports the freedom-loving people of Iran, and at the same time, for some reason, he doesn't really support the freedom-loving people of Ukraine, because, like, what the fuck? Ukraine? Where is it? Oh. This chocolate is so good and painful at the same time. What else can I say about this? Because we are slowly traveling, all right, and not only us, a lot of people are slowly traveling into the conspiracy land, all right, trying to understand, like, okay, is it because Trump and Putin, you know, broke the plates, okay? Is it because they had a grudge or something? Or is it for some different reason, all right? I decided to start a new segment on my channel. I'm sure that you didn't expect this segment to even emerge on my channel. But for educational purpose, I think it's very, very important to have it, all right? It's conspiracy time on Operator Starsky channel. Okay. Because it's necessary, okay? It's necessary to hear conspiracies and understand what people are speaking outside our convenient bubble, all right? Outside our convenient reality. So let me know what you think. Let's share of some conspiracies there in the chat, because it's absolutely necessary to study those as well. And let me know what you think about this. Again, it's conspiracy. Conspiracies suck. Wait a minute. Is Starsky now shelling for US attacks on sovereign countries? I will be shelling for any attacks on sovereign countries, because according to the UN chapters that United States are part of, all right, that was not supposed to happen. Am I protecting bloody dictator Maduro? No. But I think it would be fair if Venezuelan people actually did it, right? Instead of foreign force literally going there and doing that. That's my opinion. And looking at the United States, again, you can confirm that United States were not, I cannot say like effective, but known for example, supporting different democratic or rebellious forces in countries when they needed it, they could do the same, all right? Also, my very personal position is that looking at Delta Force operators, who I believe, when they were snatching Maduro, they were secretly sorry that that dude is not Putin, right? Oh my God, conspiracies, Smolensk, Kaczynski, Russia, yeah. I would love to talk about that. Absolutely. How do you justify invasion of a different country? Like, seriously, how do you justify invasion of a foreign country? I don't know. I agree with Kaya Kallas here. She said whatever I just said, right? She said that she doesn't consider Maduro legitimate president. He's a fucking dictator. He's a bloody murderer, 100%. She didn't say anything about European Union supports you in your liberating struggle against the bloody dictator. Yeah, she did what the diplomat had to do. She said, like, yeah, we agree that he's a bloody dictator, and yeah, we're making sure that none of EU citizens in Venezuela is hurt. All right. So, conspiracy time. Conspiracy I've heard just this morning, okay? Tell me what you think about it. So, Putin calls Trump, and besides, like, saying that Ukrainians sent gazillion of their drones, they hit my home, all right, hit my izba in Valdai. He says, Trump, okay, you know that we have our presence in Venezuela, you know that we send them like weapons and shit like that. What do you think about us making an exchange? Okay, we let you do whatever the fuck you want to do in Venezuela, and you let us do whatever the fuck we want to do in Ukraine. That's conspiracy that sucks, my friends. All right, but I just wanna know, what do you think about this one? The only reason for the invasion is Venezuelan oil. This is one of the... Oh my god, I have so many freaking titles there. The only reason for the invasion is Venezuelan oil. That is 100%. 100%. Because first of all the oil assets there, all the equipment there were American. We all know that. And Maduro basically snatched it. He nationalized it. That's what we know. You don't do that, all right? So, what do you think about this one? I want to know your opinion. Who is Smolensk? My friends, Smolensk is a place where Lech Kaczynski and his aircraft mysteriously crashed, killing the Polish president and I believe his family and a lot of people on board, like the elite of the Polish government, right? Elite of the Polish people, when they were heading to Russia to mourn the victims of Katyn. What am I talking about generally? So Katyn was a place where Russians committed literally a massacre of captured Polish officers. There are thousands of Polish officers that were literally shot and buried, basically like they did in Bucha to Ukrainian civilians. That's what they did to Polish officers, Polish military in Katyń. And when Lech Kaczynski was heading there, his plane mysteriously crashed for reasons unknown, right, in Russia. How could that happen? Yeah, so again, that is just a conspiracy. Again, conspiracies suck, but we all love conspiracies so much. Oh my God. Especially people who say fuck Ukraine. I'm just trying to understand what makes those conspiracies so attractive to them. The bottom line is that the strike on Venezuela to remove the president is illegal. 100% it is. 100%. China met with Maduro yesterday morning and was talking about siding with them against the US. Yeah, that is the reason why Maduro, when he talked about the military support, he addressed China, Iran, and Russia for that. Literally. That is the main reason, because those are like literal axes of evil right there. Literal axes of evil that depend on oil more than anybody else. Okay? Nothing but an oil grab. Again, completely agree on this one. Even removing an illegal president. Well, if it's legal to remove an illegal president by a foreign force, why the fuck Putin is still there? Putin is fucking ruling the whole terrorist federation. For 25 years, he changed his constitution to benefit himself. All right. Is Kim Jong-un legal? Is Putin legal? Is Khamenei legal? But the problem is they don't have American oil rigs on their territory. Maybe that is the main reason, no? I'm just asking. Maybe I don't understand something. Anyone who says fuck Ukraine is not very smart. From my observations, all right, based on my personal observations, those are the guys who also scream fuck NATO, fuck European Union, fuck everyone else, and let's bravely fight against China, Iran, and North Korea united against us. So that tells a lot about like their mental development. That's literally only based on my personal observations. Why is the Potato King ruling Belarus legal? Yeah, great question. Why? That's what I wanted to hear from you. That is illegal. Of course. Because, as I always said, we take decisions based on only two options, all right? How legal it is and how moral it is. Always. If we take Russian invasion of Ukraine, it cannot be justified neither from legal standpoint, because this invasion is absolutely illegal. based on the UN chapter and everything else. And also, it's not moral. It's generally not moral to go to a different country and kill people in that country, all right? Therefore, for example, Russian invasion of Ukraine is not justified on based on legality and morality, all right? In this case, it's illegal to go there to Venezuela to fight against those people. Again, it stands against the UN chapter, and the United Nations will most probably not support it. I think so, based on legality of this action. Based on morality of this action, Maduro is a fucking bloody murderer. But again, if you do that in Venezuela, why do you fucking call a Russian dictator and tyrant your fucking friend? Trump just pardoned an ex-president of Honduras. He has been convicted for drug smuggling $400 million of cocaine into the US. Yeah, obviously. Trump and Putin are working together to end up the rules-based order that has brought the world prosperity. I faced, and based on the narratives that absolutely deny everything on collective security, on partnership, I faced this, absolutely. Maduro is a communist dictator who is in bed with Peter Putin, a man that Trump calls his good friend. Let's not forget about this. Hello there, I hope everyone had safe start into 2026. We kinda did. My friend, thank you so much. I'm not sure if we can call it a safe start. It's literally 3rd of January and we can already see a fucking war on the other side of the globe there. It wasn't in my contract, my friend. I'm not going to get any sleep for a while after the chat. Jenny, it is bad. It is very, very bad. So in order to have a good sleep, I can suggest you to have something good before going to bed, right? For example, and I think that we will slowly shift in the direction of food, but we can also keep discussing this, all right? Because, again, I think that there on the other side of the screen, everyone will agree that first, it's illegal to invade other countries, and second, Maduro is a bloody dictator. I am glad that at least we have agreement on this point, all right? That we clearly understand these things. Why it's important is because it's important to have objective position on something, all right? And this is something that exercises and trains our critical thinking, okay? We can support Venezuelan people and be happy for them, which again is a different question, because who is going to rule Venezuela after this? I would probably take a delay, a couple of months probably, and observe all that. Because it's interesting. Yeah, so let me show you this. Yesterday, I bought a car battery. Finally. I didn't install it yet. And again, I open the freaking hood and I see a bunch of rat shit on my battery. The Mickey Mouse and his family keep just sleeping there all the time. And I bought the car battery and I bought some food, all right, to enjoy with my lady. So we bought sushi. And I literally finished sushi just like this morning, all right? Because as always, I bought more than I could swallow. Just like Putin, basically, you know? Yeah. So that is one suggestion to you, my friends. If you feel that you cannot sleep and if you feel worried about something or depressed, this stuff might help, all right? This is the healthiest thing that can actually help you in such cases, absolutely legally, all right? This stuff might help. Nyam. It's not just nyam, it's om nom nom. This was the wrong thing for the wrong reason, no matter how bad Maduro is. Trump is worse, Putin is worse. I can absolutely agree with probably both, all right? With probably both. Thai food, that's sushi. That's Japanese food. Made in Japan, right? Made in Japan. On the top left, that is hiyashi wakame, that is seaweed salad, which I am a big fan of. I don't know why, but literally when I smell the seaweed, I just go absolutely insane. Instacart for one zone. Yeah. Could the Trump regime be prosecuted for people smuggling, Maduro and his wife? I think they already have some issues with the International Crime Court, all right? And me as a European, I will be supporting the International Crime Court here. Chocolate and sushi, yeah, that's the best thing. Absolutely. Sending lots of love to my brothers and sisters of Ukraine for the new year. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my friends. Do you know why they had money changers in the temple? Yeah, that's something that always boggled me, because if you think about it, all right, there are churches, all right, there are priests, and priests do sermons, all that stuff. They preach to their parishes and yada yada, and help people acquire some sort of internal peace and tranquility. And if those people feel like, they would donate to the church. So this is how it works. Most probably they just installed those machines, you know, just to make it more convenient to donate, you know. Like, it's not like we're saying that you should, but if you feel like, you know. Who the fuck knows what will happen now? International crime courts need to pull up a chair for the US administration right the fucking up. Yeah. The only people to sleep a little better after this smash and grab is the people of Guyana. Maduro threatened to invade. Yes, by the way. they will have a bit more peaceful sleep. However, on the other hand, Guyana is also known for being an oil-rich oil-rich country. Dear family, correct me if I'm wrong, all right? Good job, President Trump, every Ukrainian would say if Trump supported Ukraine. And generally speaking, the planning for this mission was performed by Marco Rubio, as far as I can understand, all right? So Marco Rubio, by the way, is the only person there in the office who actually has some kind of military vision, all right, strategic military vision. The money changers were not inside the temple. People from all over the Roman Empire needed to change money into local currency in order to pay for offering sacrifices in the temple. Listen to people who know, all right, my friends. There's the answer. Guyana is shipping more oil than Venezuela, yeah. And actually, Russia is shipping more oil than Guyana and Venezuela combined. So why does not Trump extract Putler? Oh yeah, he admires his racist views. Never mind. My friend Brofist right here. All of you Americans in here who put Ukraine before your own president, you are dumb. I support Ukraine, but not before my own country. So my answer to this, my dear friend, Andy, all right, or we call people with the same names like Teska, all right, we are Teskas. So my response to this is you are speaking about Ukraine as if Ukraine is fucking China, all right? We are not. We are on the same side of the barricades, okay? And you cannot put Ukraine in front of your very own president because we are on the same side. It's impossible to put Ukraine in front of your very own president. But at the same time, there are quite a few people who think that this is actually necessary, okay? Because for reasons, again, that I cannot explain, there are people who support, for example, removing the public from the access to the Epstein files and things like that. Today I saw a video, amazing video of one of the Trump supporters who say, like, so what that girl was raped like 30 years ago, it makes her 50, she's not 13 anymore. You know, people with this kind of mentality. People with the same mentality are actually saying that if you support Ukraine more than you support Trump, all right, you are a traitor. So you are a traitor if you don't support your country, okay? And Ukraine supports your country. Russia doesn't. No matter what, how much Putin hugs with Trump, it doesn't change the Russian strategy. Russia wants the demise of the United States. That is why when you say that President Trump first and Ukraine is like a motherfuckers, you know, like fuck Ukraine and everything else, you are the problem because Ukraine supports United States. Ukraine is ally with the United States. And in case of this horrible scenario when United States is attacked or waging war against whatever axis of evil, China, North Korea, you name it, Ukraine will be helping United States with its supreme drone technologies that currently Ukrainian Ministry of Defense sending our specialists, our military experts to the United States, and we have this amazing cooperation in terms of drone technologies. That United States were not interested in learning whatsoever, right? Like they designed some, but Ukraine is much better and is much more experienced in that. We have much more expertise, much more knowledge, all right? And besides all that, we understand the tactics. Yesterday, the Czech Prime Minister was talking about this, and he said that they had military exercise with Ukrainians. And no matter what they did, the Czech unit was eliminated over the course of 10 minutes by Ukrainian drones. So this is the cooperation you want to have. And will you have this cooperation if you keep saying, fuck Ukraine, if you keep saying, we can do it fucking ourselves, if you keep saying, like, stop supporting Ukraine's war? Will you have this cooperation? Let me know your opinion, all right? And also let me know if you think that it doesn't put Ukraine on the other side of the barricade because of this fucked up, shitty sort of narrative. I sincerely think that people who separate Ukraine and the United States, all right, like this, they are not America first, they are the traitors. They are actually the traitors. Because if you are America first, you understand what the true strength of America is. And just to remind you, United States is great, is because of all the people who came to the United States and made it great. All right, and Ukrainians don't even want to, like, seriously, I love Washington, D.C. so much. I've been there once, but it's not like I want to fucking have a hut there, you know, somewhere like near the Capitol. No, I don't care. I enjoy Germany. I enjoy Kyiv. These are places that I like. But we are with you, my friends, because we are all America first. All right. If we want strong collective security, we should be all America first. All right. But not all America first. It also makes us Germany first, Ukraine first, France first. That is the power. That is the strength. All right. It's not fuck you. We have like our own problems, because to some extent your own problems are our problems as well, and we should all understand this. Fucked up. Sounds cool. Like one of our friends there in the commentaries said, in the name of Harry Potter. How about free democracy first, not America first? Look, I can completely understand the feeling of patriotism. I considered myself Ukrainian nationalist around like 2011. Like seriously, I can completely openly talk about this. I considered myself Ukrainian nationalist in like 2011, but at the same time I already thought about things like What can we give to the world, all right? If I think that my country is great, what can we give to the world? What can we share, all right? And that is something that we should all ask ourselves. Not like fuck others, let's just think about ourselves, because that's basically the course of North Korea. That's their way of thinking. If you think that you're a patriot, ask yourself, what makes your country great? What makes your country great compared to others? What can you give to others, all right, to help them be great just like you? Because the true power is not the tanks, navy, and shit like that. The true power is the power of literally helping other people become better. All right? This is the true power, and this is the true value. And this is something that, for example, they teach us at public relations, all right, in the universities. That when you, for example, talk about return of investments, it's a very direct thing, all right? You create an advertisement based on the income over like specific span of time. You have return of investment, and then you can like analyze this based on the return of investment. And in case of a broader picture, if you think like a strategist, it doesn't work like that. You give people value instead of just fucking advertisement. You give them value, and over time, this value grows into something bigger. And that is the way it works with great people, with great nations, when you actually help other nations to become great. And if you do, I guarantee that you will never, and yes, my friend, that was exactly the USAID, 100%. And I guarantee that if you think like this, you will never have to be worried about fucking defense, nuclear weapons, all right? Because those people that you helped to grow, they will always be your friends, allies, brothers, all right? It works like that. Look at European Union, all right? Look at European countries that live in peace for many decades already. I don't think that France thinks about like invading Czechia or something. What the fuck? Then why the fuck does Trump think about invading Greenland? Just a question. By the way, how's Greenland special military operation going? It's been a while since I heard any updates. You are who you are. If you close on the world and hang out with dictators, you will never be a N1 country. I think Belgium should invade Monaco. It will be like the biggest beer fight in the world, right? I would literally invade Czech beer storage. Seriously. I would even pay money to do that. Trump has just legitimized China's removal of the president of Taiwan. That is a very good point, by the way, to look at this. But on the other hand, Putin also legitimized Trump's invasion of Venezuela to some extent. I really want Denmark to enable Article 5 if Greenland is invaded. Oh my god. Crazy times we live in, my friends. I'll help. Breznak is a super nice beer. Oh. You know, when I'm buried, I want to have the text on my tongue to say, this young man laid his life in a struggle with a beer, all right? That would be like the coolest text on a gravestone. Hopefully Trump rescues the people of Iran. Now, with Iran, it's very, very different, okay? Because doesn't matter what sort of, encouraging messages Trump is sending to Iran. Why is my camera like this? Let me correct it just a bit. Yeah, doesn't matter what kind of encouraging messages Trump is sending to Iran, he must understand one thing. A lot of people in Iran, even those who hate Khamenei, they also don't like United States, all right? First of all, because of all the years and decades of the propaganda, and secondly, because there is no established way of communication, all right, with Iran. People in Iran think, again, I can just retransmit you directly what I hear from people in Iran. People in Iran think that if United States and Israel come to Iran and remove Khamenei and everything else, the only reason they will do that is literally Iranian oil, all right? How much are they wrong about this? How do you think? Does this sound legit to you? Of course, Khamenei's regime, and Khamenei, again, he's a bloody murderer and bastard, and I really hope that he ends up like the dictator should, all right? Like all the tyrants. They all say that Khamenei is a dictator, 100%, they hate him. Khamenei says that all the people who have uprisings, all right, all the rebels there on the streets and stuff, that they are all American puppets, which is something we've heard from fucking Yanukovych back in 2013, 2014, during the Revolution of Dignity. Yanukovych was saying basically the same, just the same as, fuckers like Dave Smith, for example, because Dave Smith likes to talk about Ukrainian coup, and Khamenei also calls all those Iranians who go on the streets to fight for their rights, all right, to fight against all those fucking repressions and growing prices. Khamenei calls them America's puppets, American coup, and yada yada. So basically you can see that they have like generally the same level of fuckery, retardment. I don't know. I like American words to describe it. But they call all the rebels on the streets American puppets. During the uprising in 2022, they were saying that literally why it happened was because young people that were on the streets that were fighting against Khamenei's regime because he murdered an innocent person, right? They were fighting against Khamenei's regime. So Khamenei regime basically said, well, they watched too much porn, all right? And that is why they went crazy and they went on the streets. America is bad, all right? That is the level of bullshit they spread in their media. Trump doesn't have established channel of communication with people in Iran, okay? People in Iran consider that, first of all, America that supports Israel against Iran, they're bad. And also, if America and Israel come to Iran and remove their bloody dictator, the only reason they will do that is not because they sincerely support Iranian people. It's literally because they want Iranian oil. Okay, so how do you explain this to the Iranian people? And do you even see any explanations being made? All right. If you want to understand what sort of narrative to deliver to the Iranian people, fucking talk to them, fucking conduct a research. That is something that Russians are doing constantly. For example, in such places as United States, they constantly research public opinion in order to produce more and more narratives that will literally make all the left and right people fight each other. Okay, they make narratives to ramp up the hate in the American society, and not only they produce like tons of bullshit that is directed at MAGA, for example. All right, like, look, you're sending your tax money to Zelensky while Zelensky is buying yachts, Hitler's cars, and royal palaces in the United Kingdom. All right, shit like that. But they also send, for example, AI-generated images of Trump with young girls to the Democratic community, right, in the United States, and say, look at this shit. And again, people don't often check the information they watch. So Russia is literally playing both sides, all right, because Russia's main idea is not only to control, to have a leverage on American government and American president, but literally fucking destroy American society completely. At the same time, feeding them beautiful content made in Russia today, saying that Russia is not your enemy, Russia is good. Look at how your president is hugging our president, the most democratic president in the world, only ruling his country for 25 years straight. The world's gone fucking nuts. I'm gonna need another coffee. First of all, Knocking Thoughts is my good friend. You probably know him. And secondly, yeah, I agree. I need another coffee. This one is freaking cold. I literally need some kind of USB warmer. I had this tiny USB pad. You put your coffee cup on it and it keeps it warm. But it didn't work well. I don't know why. Like, it was like barely warm. I need something better. This is again something very interesting, which I mentioned already earlier. Netanyahu has already reached an agreement with Trump on a major war in Iran. Netanyahu, like Trump, is a close friend of Putin. So, can somebody explain me this? All right. Can somebody explain me this thing? Netanyahu confessed, he admitted that he is calling Russian dictator Putin very, very frequently, almost like every week, all right, to have a talk. So Netanyahu is friend with Putin, who supplies weapons to Hamas together with Iran, who attack Israel. And Netanyahu keeps calling Putin every single time. How do you explain this? Of course, not mentioning that Trump decided to literally buy the whole Gaza Strip and build like the coolest beaches and hotels and resorts in that area. Why is Trump hostile with Ukraine, and why is he friends with the dictator Putin? Yeah, that is another very, very good question, which I believe we all want to know the answer to. It's like, fuck Ukraine, all right, with all that Ukrainian war and whatever, but don't fuck Russia, all right? Russians are good. Russians are friends. Let's invite Russians to Alaska with with a red carpet. Let American soldiers knee down in front of Russian tyrants. I don't see this ugly shit happening. I don't think that it's proper to let any American soldiers literally knee down in front of anyone. It's improper to let any soldiers at all, all right, to do that shit. Whoever you are. I cannot imagine Polish soldiers literally kneeling in front of Ukrainian president. I cannot imagine Ukrainian soldiers kneeling in front of Polish president or prime minister. I cannot imagine French soldiers kneeling in front of British whatever prime minister, because it's wrong, all right? Your soldiers, your army, that should be the face of your dignity, I think. And it's not proper to do that. The soldiers knee down in front of somebody in just one case. If it's a hero returning home, all right? If it's a hero who laid his life or her life and they return home. That is the only reason for that. They weren't kneeling in front of Putin. Check the photos. The peak was them rolling out the carpet before the plane arrived. Yeah, I know exactly well. I know that they were not kneeling in front of Putin. They were kneeling to place a red carpet for the internationally wanted war criminal Putin, who kidnapped 20,000 Ukrainian children and waged the craziest war of the 21st century. They did just that. Epstein gave dirt to Lavrov like he did to Turkey in the past. Yes, that can be the case. And generally speaking, he had contacts with FSB people directly through Belyakov, through Pazhidaeva. He had a direct link with the FSB. So he could provide them with whatever information they needed, and he also consulted with Belyakov a lot. I made a whole video dedicated to that. It's not a lot better, but let's not be shaming these soldiers. My friend, nobody is shaming American soldiers, and I have nothing but respect to American soldiers, all right? Because American soldiers trained us, Ukrainians, how to fight Russian scum. But American soldiers act according to their commands, act according to their orders, all right? And if they're told to do that shit, they will do that shit without asking questions, all right? Like any other soldier in any other country. I'm excited to watch what Russian propagandists say over the next few days. So my prediction is, first of all, the Russians will be glorifying themselves. They will be saying, look at this brilliant operation conducted by American Delta Force operators, because the only reason they succeeded was because they fucking copied the Russian Spetsnaz in Hostomel, all right? Because in the Russian legends, the Russian Spetsnaz that landed in Hostomel, and I shit you not, engaged in combat against 2,000 NATO-trained elite Ukrainian soldiers, which is kind of true. We were considered elite specifically by Brigade, and we were trained by NATO soldiers, but there were approximately 200 military personnel at all, right, at the base at the time. And the Russian personnel, those Spetsnaz, VDV, DVD, whatever, there were between 250 and 350 men, based on the number of cargo helicopters. So they will be talking about this. They, according to those myths that they're broadly shared in the terrorist federation, they say that they engaged in this combat against 2,000 NATO mercenaries, all right, and then they killed them all. And after that, they were holding defense of that area until they all died, basically. So that is the story of Hostomel from the Russian perspective. And they will be saying probably that Americans learned that from Russians, right? Americans can't fight. If not Russians in Hostomel, they would never be able to do that. Would you like to be kidnapped by Delta? I don't think that I would like it very much, but I'm sure that this is fucking 100% possible, all right? I don't think that I will be able to hide well from them. And I'm definitely not some kind of, Osama bin Laden. He had much skills than me. But then why would they do that? And what else they will be saying? Of course, on the official level, they will be saying, we kind of condemn you, United States, you did bad, all right? Like, what you did was wrong. Okay, let's remember this. This is official position of Russia. But on the level of Russian bloggers, on the level of Russian war correspondents, on the level of even Solovyov, all right, let's see if my prediction works, all right. Solovyov will, of course, say that it was kind of wrong what they did in Venezuela, all right, but their troops were freaking good, all right. Well, their troops were freaking good. And Solovyov will also say something, hopefully it will not spoil our beautiful relations between Putin and Trump. So that's what Solovyov will say, and the reason why he might say that I explained in this segment, all right, of our stream, right there. I still can't understand how can you capture so easy a president or dictator like Maduro. I can try to explain this, okay? And to that I will need another way. I can try to explain this. So we know perfectly well that, for example, during American and Israeli attacks on Iran, they had plenty of Iranian objects. Nuclear objects and oil objects. Let me put this stuff here, all right? Because what we're talking about is like not based on facts, only on like our imagination, all right? Let's not forget about this. Let's believe facts, not imagination, but let's also talk about imagination. So they hit successfully a lot of strategic Iranian objects, oil-related and nuclear objects as well. The objects that Russia helped them build. And Russia that helped them build all that and provided them with different technologies, oil-related and also nuclear-related technologies, Russia had all the intelligence data on those objects. What sort of intelligence would they even need to collect if they actually helped them build that? So I have seen several indications in several media. Like, it was in my head, I didn't talk much about it, but I saw several conspiracies, all right, on the internet that they could actually provide this data to the United States or to Netanyahu that Putin talks with every single fucking time. And why would they need that? All right. So first of all, Russia received a bunch of Iranian Shaheds. That's, again, we are developing this shit, this conspiracy shit, all right? Russia received a bunch of Iranian Shaheds. They built a whole factory in Turkmenistan, in the Alabuga, where they literally produce them themselves. They don't need anything else already, right? Russia is self-sufficient on building Shaheds for itself. That is why they kind of had this strategic partnership with Iran. But in reality, what Russia did after those strikes on Iran conducted by United States and Israel, nothing, all right? Literally nothing. And Khamenei was like, dude, I'm here. Like, bro, Vova, do something. Holy shit, we're strategic partners. Where's your help? And Putin is like, sorry, I don't speak Farsi, you know. So they provided all that intel to United States or Israel, again, that Putin talks with, you know, every single week. Speaking of Venezuela, that was, again, signing strategic partnership with Russia, October this year. Venezuela that bought Russian tanks, Russian S-300s that didn't work for some strange reason, right? Doesn't it look like a bit suspicious? Yeah, again, guys, I will remind you that we're talking about conspiracy here. But it's kind of sus. And they had all sorts of intel on Maduro and his people, Wagnerites that were deployed to Venezuela. Again, I didn't see them working much active. Maybe they were involved in something different than defending Venezuela. So that is kind of strange thing, all right, from the territory of conspiracy theories. It actually benefits Ukraine, a country that is helping Russia bypass sanctions. On one hand, it doesn't benefit Ukraine at all in terms of sanctions because Russian shadow fleet is 5 times larger than Venezuelan shadow fleet. That's one thing. Second thing, what would actually benefit Ukraine is, for example, when Trump provided Ukraine with tomahawks, all right? But Trump is the dude who actually said, you know that I stopped tomahawks. I didn't want that, all right? Being the dude who actually offered this. He's the same dude who also stopped this. So it kind of benefits, but not Ukraine. I wonder who sung the Ursa Major. Reckless smoking, my friend. It was reckless smoking on board. I wonder what interesting files will the CIA extract from Maduro's safe. Yes, that's a good point, because it actually might indicate something. But remember when, for example, UN observers went to Iraq to find traces of chemical combat weapons? I think they will find the same traces of chemical combat cocaine in Venezuela. That's just my suggestion, all right? That's just my private opinion. What's the Russian planes doing in Iran? So we know what Iranian airplanes do in Russia. They deliver missiles and drone parts. But what Russian airplanes are doing in Iran, apparently they're doing the same, because Iranians delivered a very, very basic model of Shahed, several models of Shahed drones to Russians, and Russians had time to actually modify them. And most probably they're just delivering them like improved technologies that Iranians can use against their enemies, all right, their adversaries. I tell you this, whatever Russian planes are delivering to are delivering to Iran, it's not like chocolate bars, all right? It's nothing good. Why would you believe anything that would come from the MAGA government in the first place? I don't. Okay, because after numerous cases of fucking lies, I don't really wanna believe whatever is coming from MAGA people. All right. To me personally, they lost all credibility, because, for example, on the left you can see Donald Trump nagging that those fucking windmills that generate electricity, and we have plenty of them in Germany, for example, they are killing proud American eagles, all right, killing birds by the millions. And on the right, you can actually see the same publication from 2006, all right, from Taiwan, I think. So you might ask yourself, what the fuck is this shit? Why is President Trump not fact-checking what he posts in his social media? Because generally it makes him look, all right, let's not call him ridiculous, let's call him not trustworthy. Why is he lying about this? And my friends, George Soros still doesn't pay me for this stuff when I talk about it, because apparently he lost my phone number. But why I'm showing this is to prove one more time that what Trump is saying in his social media is not necessarily trustworthy, all right, based on facts like this. Windmills are good because spread all over and the energy production can be disabled with one attack. Yeah, that is one of the coolest thoughts about this. Absolutely legit. Ukraine is just trying to keep Trump happy enough to keep the PRL weapons flowing. Yes, absolutely. And that is the reason why when Donald Trump says some extremely cringy stuff, all right? I'm trying to do like President Zelensky and not trash him much, all right? Even though it's very, very hard. So when he says in front of President Zelensky that Putin wants Ukraine to succeed, Putin wishes Ukraine all the best. Putin loves Ukraine so much. Putin fucking admires beautiful Ukrainian culture. Putin loves borscht, Ukrainian women, all right? Putin is dreaming that Ukraine had a beautiful, independent, democratic future. Yeah. So when he says all this fucking bullshit, all right, that triggers me so fucking much. And you can see that President Zelensky is just like smiling because, like, what can I say? You know, what can I say? When you are dealing with mentally destitute people, someone still has to be a grown-up in the room, all right? That is why I admire President Zelensky so much for that, because he's like, you know. And apparently I'm also losing all of my skills because I was sergeant back in the army. And I was also trained how to deal with, let's say, not really smart people, okay? And I had that experience. All right, but apparently after 10 years of service, I'm also becoming older, much easier to trigger with shit like that. And I would not be just like standing there, smiling dismissively at what he says. I like for real. My friend, you're laughing there, but that's true. I literally, as a sergeant, I had to deal with all sorts of people. With people who would stand on the balcony drunk as fuck, pulling down their pants and shouting, "Look at my short." Short in our slang is a handgun, long is a rifle. Shouting, "Look at my short one," just diving head down into the asphalt. That's a true story. We had to collect money among the guys of my platoon for this fucktard to have proper treatment. All right. And when you deal with the same people, for example, in the White House, that requires you much more skills than just from, a simple Ukrainian sergeant. That requires some real skills, all right, some great skills. Only great people can do that. That is also why Zelensky came to Canada before Mar-a-Lago. I think that he also went to Canada after Mar-a-Lago, and they had a cold one, all right. If I was a president, Zelensky, I would do just that. Putin wants to help Ukraine with cheap energy supplies. So sad, Trump. Yeah, energy supplies that he fucking stole from us. After Putin and Trump steal Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Exactly. One time I dated a girl. She was an MTV producer in Ukraine. Her father worked at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. And from what I can say, that is some of the most kick-ass nuclear power plants that we actually owned in Ukraine. So I won't be surprised. Zelensky was using his acting career during that meeting. I believe so. I am not an actor. I would not be able to act like that. I think that shit was helpful. But again, after this meeting, I believe that he definitely went somewhere, meet Canadian Prime Minister or Italian Prime Minister Meloni and just have a beer or two to vent. Does vaping help you? Look, if you're watching me smoking and you are thinking that you want to smoke, but you don't, you are the dude. All right? I know you're not the dude, but you are the one. All right? I am proud of you because this shit doesn't give me anything at all. It's nicotine free. And I am literally addicted to nicotine-free shit. Just because I'm a baby. If you don't smoke, it means that you are stronger than me, and I am proud of you. President Zelensky is a statesman and hero. I would have yelled, "You fucking moron." My thoughts exactly. Yeah. Regarding yelling. Look, this is my president who I support, and I didn't vote for President Zelensky. Honestly, I confess. But he's my president and I support him for what he does, and I think that he's doing a great job as a president of Ukraine, right? going to all those meetings and fighting for Ukraine on the international stage. And at the same time, I would call everyone not to turn anyone, even very, very good president or good diplomat, general or whatever, don't turn them into like an idol, all right? Because they're still human, and we should always think of them like that. We should be grateful for what they do, but we should never turn people into something more than they are. I'm also apparently a baby. You're not a baby, you're Katya. You're not addicted, it's addicted to you. Ah, that's how it works. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Do you think the new chief of staff will be a good match with Zelensky? If you're talking about our former minister of digital development, then I think it's probably a very, very good decision. Because that guy is not only responsible for Ukrainian digitalization of our life, like DIA and all other applications, but also the IT army and drones. So I think that's a good idea, because if you're talking about the chief of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, that is more like a supervising position. All right, all the innovations, all the procurement, all the logistics go there. So I think it's a good idea. Steve, tell us your age, please. We all want to know. I think whatever position Budanov is, he will remain the minister of Bavovna. 100%. Yeah. I wish we had DIA in Germany. Oh, my friend, that would be so fantastic. I wish you had like late night delivery of sushi in Germany. That would be really cool. Budanov vice president, Hula will love that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a vocalist artist, and this word is not fair to artists. Closing MTV is part of the right-wing plan. I am absolutely embarrassed and mad because of that. Because MTV is a legendary, I cannot even call it a project. It's a legendary channel. It's part of us, all right? It's part of our past and part of who we are, all right? I was raised by Beavis and Butthead, seriously. They taught me a lot of amazing things about this world, all right? I'm not joking, guys, I'm not. I watched all the episodes. This is how I lost my hair. Guess my age. Judging from the eye on the user pic, I would say like 25, 26. Oh shit. Okay, I know that I'm stupid. I have like a tiny hint over here. All right. So just a bit older, all right? Just a bit wiser. Oh my god, don't start it. We were sitting with my best buddy. Fuck. Oh my god. Yeah. We were sitting with my best buddy at school, in the high school, all right? Like behind the rear table. And we were impersonating Beavis and Butthead all day long. That was so cool. I think I will download. I think I will buy that game and install it on my tablet somewhere. Yeah. You really need to. You really need to watch Beavis and Butthead from time to time. You know, to remind ourselves who we are. All right, to keep this connection with our roots. Beavis and Butthead with Cher. That was a masterpiece, in my opinion. We had like a sidekick in Ukraine, like an MTV sidekick, like a different channel based on MTV, on the same infrastructure basically. It was called Kyiv. And I miss it so much because while MTV is more like MTV style, right? It's like something that is easily recognizable around the world. But Kyiv was literally Ukraine-oriented version. And that was just so good. At least we have South Park. Oh yeah, I agree on that. What has MTV had to do with music in the last 30 years? I tell you that I've seen the Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana for the very first time on the MTV. All right, when I was a kid, in like early 90s. And it was back in the poor and unfortunately destitute Ukraine, because 90s it was a global post-Soviet crisis, right? In the post-Soviet countries we had this absolutely insane crisis, and back in those days on this huge television, that TV set, not like the thin ones, right, that we all use, but like the big one, with plenty of white noise and shit like that. I was literally watching Nirvana. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I freaking enjoyed it, all right? MTV made me who I am. Yeah, that one, absolutely. And again, things like Nirvana, things like Metallica, 90s, that is something that made us ourselves. On rotation that time, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Jeremy No Rain, yeah. Oh my god. Good old times. When I was young, Elvis was still driving tanks in Germany. Holy. Yeah, oh. I can imagine that. You all make me feel old. We're not old. We just live many years, all right? Doesn't make us old. We don't stop joking because we are old. We become old when we stop joking. Not mine, I snatched it from somebody. All right, my friends, I think it's a good time to call it a day. Let's wrap it up. Putin Bengali. Yeah. And I would like to say big thanks to wait a minute. Is 69 old? 69 is the perfect age, trust me. My zodiac is Cancer, it's also 69, you know. 69 is like a perfect age. I would not be ashamed of that or something. That's actually, you know, it's cool and a bit naughty, I would say. So, thank you so much, my dear friends. Just a reminder, please don't forget to visit the link in the description, because these guys need your support.
Everyone, we are fighters of the Rubizh Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. We are currently located in Pokrovsk direction, and we are holding the enemy's advance in Donetsk region. Right now, we urgently need a pickup truck for transporting food, water, ammunition and personnel. We appeal to the Cars for Ukraine for purchasing, preparing and delivering the vehicle, but also to the operator Starsky community to support in raising the necessary funds. Thank you for your help. Slava Ukraini! Героям слава!
Those are my guys. Those are Ukrainian recon troops, the badass-est motherfuckers in the whole Ukrainian army. Trust me on that. They would literally go to the mission, return, you know, like covered in blood, take a shower, and then play Stalker on the PC. So those are badass guys, and they require your help, because I really want to help my guys as well, and we are collecting for a truck to those guys together with Car for Ukraine. So please don't hesitate to check out the link, it's in the description. Also check out all the legendary people who donated already, because they are absolute legends and I highly appreciate their support. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye everyone, we'll see you later, and don't forget to have something good, all right? Because coffee is not enough. We always need something more solid, all right, after a stream. See you next time. Be safe and bye-bye.